not in the scope of the journal, doesn't fit the bill of our audience. The results aren't robust enough to support the conclusion. Your manuscript may be more appropriate for this journal. Lack of originality, novelty, or significance. Replicate published findings without adding substantial knowledge. Have you ever wondered why your paper or proposal is rejected? This is because you didn't understand the psychology of review process. The editors and reviewers of journals are already professors who occupy high position in universities and research centers with very little time to read your paper, let alone doing a systematic review. As a result, they generally judge your paper and proposals based on scientific illustration and graphical abstract, rather than on your in-depth analysis. In a typical review process, editor who has no expertise in your field will first have a look at your images such as graphical abstract and scientific illustration. The editor's first concern is to ensure that the article generate interest among wider audience through graphical illustration. If graphical abstract and scientific illustrations are not interesting, the editor will reject with the familiar excuse of not in the scope of the journal. If graphical abstract and scientific illustration are interesting enough, then only editor will recommend it for review process, and your paper has crossed its first hurdle. Once it reaches the reviewer, he will have a cursory look to find anything interesting. If he didn't find any scientific illustration or graphical abstract eye-catching, he may reject it outright or consign it to later pile. As reviewers too don't have time, they will have a re-look at manuscript only after a reminder from editor that review deadline is approaching. As the time has ran out, he hurriedly make the review process solely based on the first impression and reject the paper or proposal if the first impression is not good enough, regardless of its analytical merit. This is why making a strong first impression with stunning visuals is crucial for paper acceptance, as images and illustrations etch in memory than words. The graphical abstract and scientific illustration enhances the first impression manyfold. If the graphical illustration is captivating, the reviewer will continue to read the paper, which will shorten the review time as well. A graphical illustration decides whether your paper will be accepted in days or lingers for months or years. If you take a look at the graphical illustration of high-impact journals, you will certainly know that they have high-quality graphical illustration. A quality graphical abstract and scientific illustration is non-negotiable for publishing in high-impact journals, a trick very few has learned. In general, the impact factor of a manuscript or proposal doubles with good quality scientific illustrations. Why wasting time with fickle review process when you can make it a cakewalk with good quality graphical illustrations? Increase your impact factor, reduce your PhD time, and propel your academic career with our scientific and medical illustration service. Illustration team has strong scientific background, which will enable your ideas come to life with stunning graphical illustrations or animations, ensuring high scientific accuracy. Don't let your paper hang out in the cold. Book our service at www.researchersmarina.com or WhatsApp R91 9944124427 for query.